Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to Japanese organic green tea, and today we're gonna clarify the myth of how much tea you actually need to use. And for this we have one main actor, and this is the spoon. And today we're gonna clarify the myth: how much tea do you actually really need if you brew a Japanese organic green tea? And we're gonna specifically going into Gyokuro, the Emperor's tea. And for this the main actor will be the teaspoon, and we will see if I take 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons already, how much tea this is, and then how much tea actually do you need, or do you really need maybe 2 spoons, or is 1 spoon already enough just to maximize your tea at home for your brewings and to taste how you like it. So I will take 2 different amounts of tea, once 2 spoons, one spoon, once 1 spoon, and then I'm gonna go and deep dive into the taste and see if there's any weaknesses, strengths or differences in taste. So we're gonna develop a little bit around this topic of how much tea actually you have to use, because out there are different amounts all the time on the teas and on the Japanese screen, especially on Gyokuro. I want to clarify this. So this is the first session of the teaspoon session, and we're gonna dive directly into this. So I brought with me green tea, or a Gyokuro from Kagoshima. So you can see Gyokuro, a very well shaded dark tea, and this tea is known to be very savory, very strong in its umami flavor, so a little bit this savory taste notes of sweet corn, and also a little bit in the direction of a more minerally glutaminic side of taste profile. So it's quite a strong, quite a complex tea, and I want to see how the different amounts already influence the tea taste in this case. So already to start with, I have brought my balance, so I'm gonna check the weight of the tea, which is coming just with 1 teaspoon. So we're gonna start here, put everything to 0, and okay, let's go in. So we take 1 teaspoon, just so you see how much this is. So we take this amount of tea and we're gonna put it into. So here now we are at exactly 3 grams. So 1 teaspoon with the Gyokuro, which is quite a dense tea, quite a heavy tea, is 3 grams. So we take 3 grams and put it into this kyusu. Now, second round, go back to 0. Good. And now we're gonna do twice the amount. So again, 1 teaspoon, and second one the same, 2. Good. So, and now we have good. We have now 4 grams. No, 5. So twice, so it's around 2.5 to 3 gram is 1 teaspoon, and we have 2 teaspoons, which then account for 5 grams. So let's see with this tea how the taste evolves. So we got 60 degrees as always for Gyokuro. We need 60 degrees of water. I give 150 milliliter to the water to the tea. Then the Gyokuro needs a little bit longer. So what we have already seen, so 1 teaspoon is more or less 2.5 to 3 grams, not 3 grams, because the first one was 3 grams and then the second one they amounted, or the 2, even I took the same amount of tea, they amounted for 5 grams. So if you take a teaspoon, maybe just try to fill it up well and nicely, then you get to 3 grams. Here I have now 2.5 and 5, so this already allows us how to see how the taste evolves between these 2 grams. So for the Gyokuro, very important, long shaded tea, quite a strong tea. So I guess we need a little bit less. So I could imagine that already the 2.5 grams are actually working very well for the tea. Here we definitely have then a stronger tea where we're around 5 grams. This is normally the amount I use, but I want to challenge myself maybe to use a little bit less tea just to see how the taste evolves, and if I can just use a little bit less to have my tea or to keep my tea for a longer period, because you know the more tea I can brew with it, the less money I spend, and this is actually what I would like to discover here in this session. So I put away my balance, and then we can start and hop directly into the session. So these 2 minutes are more or less through. Let's have a look at the leaves. Leaves already nicely evolved. Good. So now let's pour this in at the same time. Yeah, good. So there's already a difference in the liquor, definitely. It's a slight one, but there's a difference between the two brewings. Already in terms of amount of leaves that you see, the dry leaves, so how much this is now, the 2.53 gram. This is this one here. And we got here, we got the other one. So we see clearly there's a difference already in the size and the amount of leaves in the teapot. Here definitely less, and it already went or takes up more space when we have more amount, which is clear. But just to see, to have an eye also how much tea leaves this represents when they are open. When we compare the two teas, so we see this one here is a little bit lighter in color, very, very slight, but it is a little bit lighter. This one here a little bit more intense in terms of smell. So this one is nice, sweet, corny. It's quite intense in taste, so it seems to be quite a good taste. Let's have a sniff here. Okay, yeah, definitely have more roundness, more body. It's rounder. So here I expect the tea to be a little bit lighter. Meanwhile here, definitely we have this full-bodied round taste, but let's see how the taste is like. So definitely there is sweetness with the tea. Definitely I have this umami flavor, so it's a good, already well developed tea. There's a little bit of a lightness, there's a little bit of a hydrating side to it, so a little bit of a weaker kind of flavor profile. It's definitely a good Gyokuro in terms of that it kind of just hits more or less the main spots of the flavor profile of a Gyokuro, but it somehow lacks a little bit in strength, which I personally identify a little bit, that it's not like this round, full-bodied kind of strong character of a Gyokuro. It's a little bit of a lighter Gyokuro, but hitting the main spots of the flavor profile of the Gyokuro. Now let's go with the 5 grams. So it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit rounder in body. It's also hitting the different spots, and especially in the beginning there seems to be kind of a more of a stronger wave of flavor developing in my palate, but the difference is not that big. Here we definitely have a little bit of the lightness. What is nice also, I get a little bit more through, like this greenish flavor profile. It seems to be that due to the fact that there are less leaves in the water, the single leaves, they kind of develop a little bit of more of a flavor profile, and they leave more space for the kind of the greener aspects of the Gyokuro. Normally when you have a Gyokuro, it's very strong on the savory, sweet, corny side. And normally in the second brewing, you get a little bit more of the grassy flavor profile. Here I already have it in the first one. And with this one here, it's clear in the beginning there's much more of this, a little bit denser, a little bit more this silky flavor profile. So here we have a lighter tea. Also in density it's much less intense. It's kind of a more of a liquid. It reminds me a little bit more of a sencha. So you take a little bit out kind of this richness and thickness of the water with kind of this little bit denser, a little bit more full-bodied, and kind of yeah, it is this silky kind of a little bit denser water feeling. The texture becomes thicker when you have more tea. Here you definitely have a light liquor, light liquid. So definitely with the 5 grams, I have much more of this full-bodied flavor profile. There is finally quite a good difference between these two. So here we talk about the light, kind of a little bit more of a less intense, but still hitting the main spots. But definitely a light and not such full-bodied and round and less thicker and less intense taste experience. But you hit the different taste notes of the tea. Here definitely you got this full-bodied and this roundness of the tea, which comes much more into presence, especially at the beginning with the just when the tea touches the first time your tongue. Then especially you have the feeling. So let's go to the second brewing just to have a comparison of the first and the second. Second, quite easy as always. And now in the second brewing, it's clearly visible, the difference. So here we have much lighter. This one here is much more intense in terms of color. So let's have a look, a closer look. Just this one here is just lighter in terms of color. Now let's see in taste. So, okay, now in the second brewing, this definitely dropped a lot in taste. So the first brewing was quite going in the direction, even with this lightness to the tea. Here it becomes already a little bit more watery, so it loses a little bit its taste. So I felt it already in the beginning that it was strange to me that the kind of this greener grassy notes already went into the first brewing. So they seems to that the tea releases a little bit more of water, that they just give more kind of nutrients already in the first brewing to the tea. So if you just want to do one brewing or maybe a second one, then you might definitely go for the 2.5 grams, but it feels that the tea really loses a little bit of its strength already going over to the second one. So the first one and the second one differ quite a lot, and here we have a much weaker tea. Let's have a look here. Here we still have a very flavorful tea. There's a lot of kind of this glutaminic, kind of a savory taste profile. The sweet corn flavor profile. I have a little bit of raisins, and a little bit more of a greener flavor profile, greener part. Here I got a lot of flavor. But here, yeah, the tea is quite watery. So I think if you want to brew just maybe a quick one, a quickie, one brewing in the morning, 2.5 is fine. You can definitely go for it. And if you don't want to make several brewings, but if you really want to go for a longer brewing and several brewings, then you definitely should go for the 5 grams, because the flavor of the different steepings just holds better over several times with a little bit more of tea. So my suggestion for you is actually, if you want to have a fast and short brewing, just one brewing in the morning, then you definitely can go to 2.5 grams. But as soon as you want to go for a more full-bodied and for several steepings, really taking your time to drink your tea, it's far worth to have at least your 5 grams of tea. So this was this. I hope I could help you with this one here. And this was the daily sip of today. And I wish you guys all the best and see you soon, and maybe see you tomorrow. Bye bye.